silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot, Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah, and as Zalmunna, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever, yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Jehovah, art the Most High over all the earth. The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people, and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces, and grind the faces of the poor, saith the Lord God of hosts?
In the grand narrative of human history, identity often takes us on unanticipated journeys. Today, we explore the mystery of Jewish heritage, a topic that piques the interest of many who delve into genealogy and ancestry. We trace its threads through the annals of time, challenging preconceived notions and shedding light on the Israelite identity. The genealogy of the tribes of Israel, as documented in the Bible, is a lineage that flows from Noah, through his son Shem, to Abraham, Isaac, and culminates in Jacob, who fathered the 12 tribes of Israel. This lineage, often searched under biblical genealogy, forms the basis of the Israelite identity. However, when we turn our attention to those who assert their Jewish ancestry today, particularly the Ashkenazi Jews, we find a different narrative. The Ashkenazi Jews surfaced in medieval Europe, predominantly in areas now known as Germany, Poland, and Russia. Their lineage traces back to the Khazars, an ancient Turkic people who embraced Judaism around the 8th century. These Khazar converts intermingled with local European populations, giving rise to a unique Jewish community, the Ashkenazi, a term frequently searched in relation to Jewish history. Interestingly, Ashkenaz, the eponym of the Ashkenazi Jews, is not listed among the biblical patriarchs. His lineage does not intersect with the covenant of Abraham. Instead, their heritage is woven through the halls of medieval courts, the pages of Yiddish literature, and the echoes of synagogue chants, all of which are key aspects of Ashkenazi culture and history. Now, let's compare these two lineages. The biblical lineage of the Israelites is a direct line from Noah through Shem, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob down to the 12 tribes of Israel. On the other hand, the lineage of the Ashkenazi Jews traces back to the Khazars, with no direct link to the biblical patriarchs. This divergence in lineage raises questions about the claims of descent from the biblical tribes of Israel by the Ashkenazi Jews, a topic that sparks much debate in religious and historical circles. In conclusion, while both groups identify as Jewish, their lineages tell different stories. The Israelites trace their roots directly back to Noah, Shem, and Abraham, while the Ashkenazi Jews trace their roots back to the Khazars. This comparison highlights the complexity and diversity within Jewish heritage and identity, a subject that continues to fascinate scholars and enthusiasts alike. Giving credence to what the book of Revelation says, Revelation 2 verse 9 states, I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And Revelation 3 verse 9 further adds, Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. These verses remind us of the importance of authenticity in our claims of identity and heritage, a theme that resonates in discussions about religious identity. Obviously, this would mean that the Khazars or Ashkenazi Jews have usurped the rightful position of the true blood descendants of Abraham. This is what the aforementioned verses in Revelation seem to be referring to, a point of contention that invites further exploration into the complex narrative of Jewish identity.
So the white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and just flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries, it's...
the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right? You wipe everything clean. It's funny how, exactly, the Renaissance, it's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide for, who knows why. It's enacting a story. It's evil, and it's wicked, and we see it in the institutions, in the schools, in the streets. Why is everything controlled by white men in five-piece suits?
With all that being said, that leads to the question of, who are the real Jews? Those of the Old Testament, the blood descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In considering this question, it's interesting to reflect on the story of Moses in Exodus 4 verses 6 to 8. In this passage, Moses' hand becomes leprous, or white, as a sign from God. This transformation is significant and visible, which leads to the inference that Moses, and by extension, the Israelites of the Old Testament, could have been of dark skin. After all, the transformation of a white hand becoming leprous wouldn't have been as noticeable or miraculous. In the Songs of Solomon, there is a verse that says, I am black, but comely. The term comely is often interpreted as handsome or beautiful. This suggests that David, a significant figure in Jewish history, identified himself as a person of dark skin. Moreover, in the book of Revelation, Jesus is described as having hair like white wool and feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. This could be interpreted as suggesting that Jesus had the physical characteristics often associated with people of African descent, such as dark, burned skin and woolly hair. When one considers that America is the biblical promised land and the story of the Old Testament played out here, then one would have to consider that black people are native to America. This is easy to believe if you have ever been in a Mexican temple and seen the murals of the Mayans who depicted themselves as such. This contradicts the mainstream narrative of history and who is considered an Aboriginal American or not. Intriguingly, many individuals, including white people, white Christians, white conservatives, and adherents of various other religions that originate in or around the Middle East, often assert that the color of Jesus' skin is irrelevant. Alternatively, they may acknowledge that Jesus was a man of dark skin but emphasize his Middle Eastern heritage. These perspectives are fascinating, as they can be seen as attempts to sidestep or downplay the implications of these biblical descriptions. But what are these implications? The implications are that the tribes of Israel live amongst the basic population of America. The implications are that the American population and the American government have systematically erased their history, marginalized them for centuries, and obscured the history to hide it. This could be likened to the equivalent of entering someone's home, causing irreparable harm, and then concealing the evidence. This metaphor isn't too far off when you consider the actions of Europeans against black people. Historically, they've faced racial segregation, redlining laws, and the destruction of black American towns, among other things. The implications are that black people have built America. The implications are that we are owed not just reparations for enslaving our ancestors and benefiting from stolen land and labor, but also for erasing a people's heritage. The implications are that unthinkable actions have been done to the indigenous people of North America. Now, many walk around professing to be Christian, saying that Jesus and God love everybody, while ignoring the fact that their ancestors have caused great harm to the Promised Land and its people. In the present day, when an average African American brings up the historical atrocities, genocide, and the American Holocaust that their ancestors endured, they are often dismissed as complainers, beggars, or accused of dwelling on the past. However, it's crucial to remember that it was these very people who built and shaped the cities we live in today. They provided the labor, planted the crops, and contributed significantly to the development of America, as they are the indigenous people of this land. Yet, when it comes to seeking compensation for the destruction of their people, they are looked down upon. Interestingly, Americans, many of whom had no direct involvement in the Holocaust that happened in World War II in Germany on the other side of the planet, have been contributing to its reparations through the tax system for years without complaint. It's only recently that questions have been raised about these payments to Israel. Now, when we assert that we are the true Israelites and that your understanding of history is flawed, there's a reluctance to acknowledge and rectify these inaccuracies. We, the African Americans, are rightfully entitled to reparations, not just because we are the indigenous people of North America, but also because we have endured slavery instigated by Europeans. The narrative of the slave trade has been manipulated to mentally enslave us into believing that we originate from Africa. We are weary of these distortions and simply seek what is rightfully ours. Yet, whenever we attempt to claim our due, we are cornered and criticized. This is the reality we grapple with, and it's time it was acknowledged and addressed.
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right?